Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees. Well, this episode I'm going to bring on a guest. His name is Hector. He's a Bronx native who hosts his own live streaming show after every Yankees game, and he's also part of a large online sports community. Now, he's here to explain all that as well as talk some Yankees, so let's bring him on. Hey, Hector, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, man.
So things are good right now in Yankee land. So people, where can they find you online?
Well, you can look for me, Project Nerd HQ, Instagram, Twitter. I'm the co-host of Yankees Morning Brew, which is a part of the Knights of Degen KOD Media. If you guys are into FCF or know anything about fan control football, Knights of Degen is a team that's a part of the FCF, and KOD Media is one of their YouTube, Twitch outlets.
All right, and can you just check? I don't really know too much about that. All I have is my PlayStation 3, which has a layer of dust on it. Can you actually?
Yeah.
I don't really understand NFTs and the meta world. Can you actually get into that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I'll just make it very easy. It's a simple combination. If you're big into fantasy football, if you're big into Madden, and if you like me, like the concept of Pokemon, the FCF is like the perfect place to go. Because what fan control football does is it has the 4 OG teams that were part of season 1. Season 2 is this year. But if you look, Terrell Owens is a part of the FCF. Tariq Hill is a part of the FCF. So it's a lot of former and current NFL players that use the FCF as a chance to work out during the off season. But it's basically, it gives the power to the fan. If you were to buy an NFT that's a part of the team, or you could do it for free with the 4 original teams that was down with last year, you could just literally go into it. You get to draft the weekly players. It gives you access to all of our Discords, gives you access to a bunch of fan control events. You can actually bid and try to pitch a show if you want to put a show out on YouTube. We just put the power of it. Instead of taking the whole corporate thing out of it, this is all for the fans, by the fans.
Right, interesting. And you have you're a host of your own show. It's called the Yankees Morning Brew. Where can people check that out?
Yankees Morning Brew. Yankees Morning Brew, like I said, it's on the Knights of Degen YouTube channel, Twitch channel. I go live on my Instagram with it as well. But it's Monday through Fridays from 11 in the morning to 12 in the afternoon, the day after a Yankee game. So if the Yankees play Monday, Tuesday morning, I will be there with a show. And I always tell people, make sure you come with your cup of coffee and let me know what type of brew you like.
Cool. Well, what type of brew you like?
Well, myself, as a New York Rican, somebody who grew up in New York City, I got to keep it with the Bustelo. Bustelo has been a tradition that's been in my family ever since that I can remember. Going to the local bodegas in the neighborhood, they always have a Bustelo going off. So every morning, you grab your 50-cent coffee, your 50-cent butter roll. Every New Yorker knows that's how you officially start a day.
I'm a corporate sellout. I got Dunkin's here, so
anyway. Hey, listen. However you could get your fix.
All right, and I'm assuming you're based somewhere in New York.
Yeah. I grew up in the Bronx, Pelham Parkway, but I'm living in Dyckman right now at the moment. But grew up all my life in the Bronx. Living in Little Italy, by St. Barnabas area, Crotona Ave. So I'm a Bronx boy.
Yeah, actually, I'm Pelham Bay, so I guess we're almost neighbors.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Yeah, I'm right by. I used to live by Columbus High School, right over there.
Yeah, actually, my dad went to Columbus way back in the day.
Perfect. I always say everybody is 6 degrees separation from each other.
Yeah. So got the Yankees has had a great weekend against the White Sox.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't always sweep everybody, but take 3 out of 4, clearly beat the heck out of them. So it's well, in this place, there's really not much to complain about this team. So I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah. Not that much to complain about. The only thing is, the little things when it comes with Chapman and the bullpen. Our defense has been solid this year. If we could, pass 35 games into the season and we could say our only issue is Aroldis Chapman trying to figure it out, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame too much with Chapman with that game just because, a lot of times you don't bring your closer out on the road. At home, I can understand the move. So it's sort of it was kind of a duck out of water that it wasn't like he got lit up.
Yeah.
It was just a little sloppy. And overall, he's having a good season for the Yankees. I think his ERA is under 2. He has 8 saves. So, but we've experienced as Yankees fans, at some point in the season, the shoe drops off with him where he's just terrible for 2 months.
Yeah. It's the little things that stick out to you. But like you said, with Chapman, it was little bleeders. It was him not able to have his command that he normally has. But when he hasn't pitched in 7 days and he came out the other game, so he hasn't pitched that much within these past 10 games. So he's liable to be able to get away with being rusty here and there.
Yeah. And overall, I'll say, with this Yankee team, the lineup, this whole weekend, it seemed like they're really come alive. I know early in the season they're like almost looked like last year's team, but we're just seeing like the advantage of having a more balanced lineup and having players like IKF and Trevino laying down bunts, which again we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that in years as Yankee fans.
Yeah. Even I can say that everybody who says they're a diehard Yankee fan, they can remember from when they first started watching every game. And I can say in 2004 was the first season that I started watching every game. And from 2004 and to where we are right now, this Yankee team is so multi-dimensional. It's not heavy in just one aspect of the game. They spread it around. Like our starting pitching has kept us afloat. Our bullpen is top phenomenal. Like when Mariano was around, I wish he had this type of bullpen that we have nowadays. Because how many more World Series we would have won?
That's true. Because he had a lot of years where he kind of had to pick up the slack. And I'll say the starting rotation, like the names may not be as sexy, but it's probably the best Yankee starting rotation in 1 to 5 in a very, very long time.
Yeah. When we had the Luis Hill come up and do that spot start, that was the first time this season that the Yankees had a different pitcher that wasn't part of their normal starting 5 starting a game. And we were the last team to do that. So 30 games in, seeing our rotation, how as healthy as it's been, even when you got Severino, who's a bit rusty, Cole bouncing back, looking a lot solid, looking like the Cole that we know. I'm really liking this rotation.
Yeah, that's why at the beginning of the year, I felt good about the team. I felt the upside of Severino and Tyone. As long as they can stay healthy, that's a pretty good 1, 2, 3. Nestor, if he just picks up what he did last year, and then Monty as a fifth starter, I take him over any other team's fifth starter. He's just as good. So going into this, I felt really good about this rotation, at least going into the season.
And then when you're seeing the evolution of Garrett Cole this year, especially when it comes to taking Tyone and Jordan Montgomery under his wing, every time any pitcher's out there and they point to the dugout with the camera, you always see Cole in the middle, and he has Montgomery and Tyone right there. And Cole's like breaking down the pitching, breaking down what pitchers are doing. Look at the pitchers cutting left, right. So I think the evolution of Garrett Cole is something to watch for the rest of the season as well.
Yeah, and if he could just sort of like, because obviously a couple years from now, he's not going to be able to throw 98 anymore. But, if he can work on just being sort of like Verlander had to adjust a little bit, take a few miles off the fastball and adjust. And, he put all that noise early in the season about the spot attack away because now he has had 4 pretty dominating starts now in a row.
The evolution and the usage of his cutter has been a big point of what he's been doing these past 4 starts, because early in the season, he wasn't throwing it as much, but seeing that he's, he has I can say he doesn't have the hiccups when it comes to throwing it. He trusts it a lot more. That right there to me has been the big difference in his pitching this year.
Yeah. And you just mentioned before Montgomery. I mean, if you look at his stats, I know it wasn't too great on the Saturday night game, but his stats would be much better if he had some run support. They just simply, for the past 2-3 seasons, just don't score runs for this poor guy.
Yeah. I think they like to take the half of the day, the day off whenever Monty's pitching.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't gamble, but if I would, I would always bet on the other team anytime Monty takes the hill. There's a little tip out there if anybody wants to bet the farm. So, and also just going into the bullpen, collectively, whether it's Holmes, Green, Loizaga, and that's a little slippy. I mean, they only need these starters to go about 5 or 6 innings. I mean, you got a bullpen that's set up that could carry out the next 4 innings flawlessly.
And not just that, when you look at the names that you just, you pointed out there with Combs and Green, and, you got Loizaga, who, like you said, is rusty, Michael King, and other pieces. Any 4 of those pitchers could be a closer on almost any other team in the American League or the National League. That's how filthy they are, especially Holmes. Holmes has surprised me the most. I thought last year was just lightning in a bottle towards the end of the year, him coming to a new division from the NL to the AL. People aren't used to him, but he's showing just like Nestor Cortez. They aren't flukes.
Yeah, and I read an interesting article about Holmes that the reason they got him is for his spin rate, whatever. They figured he wasn't being utilized in Pittsburgh the right way, but something about Cashman, all those people want to bash Cashman, knew something about his spin rate that if we could just get this guy here, get him to throw the pitch we wanted to, he could be devastating. And that was a good call by Cashman, bringing him in late last season.
You hit it right on the head. I was going to say the same exact thing. Everybody, bashing Cashman, but you gotta tip your hat off to Cashman, finding these little gems and adding them to this team. That right there is the difference in just a team that can win a division and can win a championship. And when you look at his record over these past 10 years, the only real hiccup that he had was signing Jacoby Ellsbury. Besides that, not giving contracts to certain players when they go to other teams and they don't have the same years. Cashman to save the Yankees a lot of money on that aspect also.
Yeah, and just look at the team that just came in, the Texas Rangers. You had Corey Seager, 325 million, Marcus Semien, like 175 million. And everyone's like, oh, the Yankees aren't signing anybody. Like, well, you look at the stats, they're doing terrible. And that's like $500 million worth of players that are just being wasted.
Yeah, Semien still hasn't have a home run, if I'm not mistaken, so far as of now, for the season.
And one of the trades that Cashman did bring in when he brought in Donaldson, IKF, and Rovette. Now, Yankees are pretty set right now with Higgy and Trevino, but now Rovette back in the fold. Seems like they're working them to come, obviously you're not going to have 3 catches. So you think one of them is going to be the odd man out?
Personally, I hate to say it. I think Higashioka is going to be the odd man out because when you look at what the Yankees were trying to do, they want to solidify behind the plate when it comes to the catching position defensively. Higashioka, when it comes to framing pitches, he's good, but he's top 3 when it comes to pass balls in the major leagues. And that's what we wanted to get away with when Gary Sanchez was back there. What Trevino has done this year, phenomenal. I really love him. So I think Higgy is going to be the odd man out when he comes back, when the other catcher comes back.
I think they like what that just, he only hit like 130 last year in a small sample size, but he's a left-handed bat. And I think this gives them an option that, you could throw a lefty out there once in a while instead of, if they face a righty, if the other starter's a righty.
Yeah. And that's what this lineup is missing, more left-handed hitters. I always joke around with other Yankee friends that I have, fans. If Clint Frazier was a left-handed hitter, the Yankees would still have him. It's because he was a righty. The Yankees need lefties, regardless of him struggling. I think the Yankees, just look at Tyler Wade. Tyler Wade, the Yankees let him how many years, how many opportunities he got, and that was because he was a lefty.
Yeah, he wasn't. I mean, yeah, he did some things like defensively and being a pinch runner, but yeah, he was not much of a bat. He was like a 200 hitter at most.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, we also saw a little bit, this weekend that, Aaron Boone's willing to put Judge out in center field. Not something I like too much. I mean, are you comfortable when you see that?
One, kudos to Judge because that goes to the type of athlete he is. But no, that's not something that I would want to see over 162 games. But if it's something that you have Judge out in center field 2 days out the week, putting Stanton out in right field 2 days out the week, and just rotating them around and just making sure that they're healthy, that's something that I can live with. If Aaron Hicks doesn't step it up when it comes to his hitting because he's in a slump, I think the Yankees will make a move for a center fielder. It's just if the price is right, I don't want them just to jump on a center fielder just because.
I totally agree with you. And I think also a lot of that had to do with Tim LaCastro being down for a couple of days. But otherwise, I think you would have saw LaCastro out there because, again, Judge is a good athlete, like you said, but I don't want him out there just running too much and like pulling a hammy or something.
Exactly. Yeah. That's something that big body can't handle.
And one of the question marks going to the season was, are we going to get the Gleyber Torres we saw in 2018 and 2019? Well, I mean, his batting average doesn't jump out, but like he's been a part of a lot of big rallies, some game-winning hits, some big home runs so far this season. Are you sold that Gleyber Torres is finally back?
I'm sold because when I see him in the bat, whenever there's runners in scoring position or there's 2 outs, Gleyber locks in. Right, his numbers may not show it, but if you look at what he's doing with runners in scoring position and what he's doing after the 6th inning, he's close to over 290. So I see him trying to shoot for the moon when it's early in the game, trying to get an early punch on a pitcher, trying to catch a mistake or whatever. But when it comes to later on in the game, you've seen it, how he could draw a walk, how effective he is just trying to shoot it into right center. I think that's what Gleyber Torres needs to live, shooting it into right center because it just makes him a better hitter.
And Joey Gallo, who's someone else, Yankee fans will get on a little bit early this season. Okay, hit a couple of home runs this weekend, great. But do you see someone that the Yankees will commit to him long-term after this season?
Long-term, I don't know. It just depends on what happened this season. But having him in the bottom half of the lineup in the 7-hole, I think that's where he needs to live in order to get out of his funk because ever since he started his 10-game hitting streak, I believe, or 8-game hitting streak, he's hitting over 300. He has 4 home runs. He's driving in runs, and he's not striking out as much. So his strikeout numbers are down from what it was in the beginning of the season, having like a couple games, 5 strikeouts, 4 strikeouts in a row. I think Joey Gallo can live anywhere between 230, 260, and have 30 home runs and be effective because he's not bad in the field as well.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'm like, if I'll take 230 or 240 from him, just just
Mhm.
when he's like 180 though, that's like unacceptable for a major league player, even with the power he has and the
Yeah,
good defense. Can't be hitting 230. And
yeah.
so really the story of the season though has been the guy who pitched the final game against the White Sox, Nestor Cortez, this unbelievable,
Hmm.
last start almost throws a no-hitter, obviously had the
Hmm.
pitch count issue. Backs it up with another beautiful gem, 8 innings of one run ball. I mean, can this guy continue this the entire season?
I hopefully I want to jump on the Nestor train for the entire season. I love what he's doing. I got a nickname for him. I call him the lefty El Duque. Him being from Cuba as well, but the way that he's just able to switch his up, he looks like a wiffle ball pitcher out there pitching in the major leagues. I want to see this in the All-Star game. Hopefully he gets that call, and hopefully he's in the All-Star game because as he brings the different energy that baseball just needs.
Yeah. And what about you feeling with Severino now? It's going to be his first full season as a starter, which he hasn't done in almost 3 years. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
think he'll be there at the end of the season? Do you make it the whole way?
Hopefully, but I feel that the Yankees are going to make a move for another starter, or I would see what we have in the minors when it comes to Clark Smith or Debbie Garcia, see if they could spot start a couple of times because, like you said with Nestor Cortez, he's never pitched more than 120 or 115 innings in a season, so I don't think he's going to get to 180. Hopefully, he does. Same thing with Severino coming back from an injury. I think the Yankees are going to have big gloves with him when it comes to the end of the season, trying to save him for the postseason. We also now have down there the former Yankee prospect Manny Benuelos, who looks phenomenal, and we just signed Danny Salazar, who who has experience from back with the Cleveland Guardians. But one thing about Severino, I'd like to point this out: when he got injured in 2017, before, like that first half of the season, him and DeGrom were like, "Who's the best pitcher in baseball? Who's the best pitcher in New York?" It wasn't until he went to Houston. You know how competitive Severino is. And 2017, people want to say the trash can thing or whatever, but Houston was laying off of his sliders, and he kept trying to feed fastball, fastball. I think that's what messed him up, trying to overcompensate, trying to overthrow, and just that. I think 2017 and that game against Houston is what messed him up and set him off this path of injuries. But I want to see him bounce back for the rest of the season.
Yeah, totally agree. And in fact, there was even a point of the season where he was actually the hardest thrower in entire baseball. I think Syndergaard had it for a while, and he kind of stole his
Mm-hmm.
mantle. He was hitting like almost triple digits, like consistently.
Mm-hmm. He's had these past two starts getting up to triple digits and living in the 98 to 99 range. So and him utilizing his cut fastball as well. Because before he was just a fastball slider, but him coming back with the cutter and a well improved changeup is the big thing for Severino.
All right, and for the Yankees, you look at the AL East, got a comfortable lead so far, very early. And the only team I kind of really would fear is Tampa. Now they got off to a bad start because they had a ton of injuries, especially to their
Mm-hmm.
pitchers. But those guys are going to come back by midseason. But do you expect a surge by Tampa, or you think the Yankees just sit pretty in first place the entire way?
You always have to expect the surge from Tampa because every year Tampa Bay just defies the odds. Every statistician, every expert, every year always counts the Tampa Bay Rays out, or say that they're not going to win as much games as they eventually do. But you can never sleep on the Rays; they always figure it out, and that's a Class A organization.
Yeah, I feel the same, man. Like until we beat them, I don't believe it. And again, I worry more about Tampa than Toronto, even though Toronto came in with a lot of people on their bag and where I can start the season. I'm really shocked with Boston how bad they've been.
Yeah, I'm super shocked. And the reports that came out the other day that Boston is trying to ship off Xander Bogaerts to get whatever they can, and eventually Rafael Devers. They're about to hit the reset button. And as a Yankee fan, I love that competitiveness from Boston and the rivalry component, but you're not going to see me crying or losing tears over Boston not being good this year.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with them. Like, they unload Mookie Betts a couple of years ago, their best player. Devers probably,
Mm-hmm.
you could say maybe now their best player. Pat didn't look like you
Mm-hmm.
said before, they unloading them. It's like, what? They got money. It's like, why are they letting these guys go? It's weird.
Yeah, it is very weird. They did this before, back in when they had that big sell off when they shipped Josh Beckett and Adrian Gonzalez, and they got a championship in 2017. I think they're trying to recreate that, but I think it's just they should have done it earlier and instead of signing what's the pitcher? I forgot his name. Who's injured? Oh my God, his
Sale.
brain fart. Chris Sale.
Yeah.
Instead of giving him the money, they should have hit the reset button back then.
Yeah, and that guy's not going to be ready till maybe midway of the season anyway, too. It's another head
Yeah,
scratcher.
and with the season that they're having right now, I wouldn't even try to even push him to even come back this year. Just let him get healthy.
Yeah, and you figure like Baltimore, okay, that's a team you get some easy wins against, but now Boston's also going to be tanking. Now that's another team you're facing 17, 18 times a season. Pad up the win total just so you get a good, playoff berth later on, pending if the Yankees are there in October, which they should be.
That I think that's going to be the deciding factor, especially when you got the three teams that you mentioned before: the Yankees, the Rays, and Toronto. The deciding factor for who's going to win the division is who beats up more on the Red Sox and Tampa Bay. And the Orioles. Whichever team beats up on those bottom teams the most, that's who's going to win the AL East.
Yeah, and I look at the rest of the American League. The only team I really worry about is, again, Tampa, because they always get us, and then maybe Houston's having a pretty good season. We're having a little bit better, but those are the two teams I would kind of worry about, at least at this point so far.
Yeah, the Angels are a team that intrigues me. They were in first place for a while, and the AL West, Houston leapfrogged them. But the Angels are a team that intrigues me. That's a team I don't want to run into in the postseason because I don't want Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout having their breakout postseason against us.
Yeah. But, at some point, Trout's going to get hurt. Just not that I'm wishing it on him, but that's happening at some point. It's going to happen. But, yeah. And plus with Joe Madden, again, former Tampa manager, another guy used to give us fits.
Yeah. And, Yankees have, we have history with the Angels, too, dating back to 2002, 2003, 2004. They've kicked us out of the playoffs so many years. So that's just a team I just want to avoid.
Yeah, that's why I like 2009 so much. We finally got to them. But, yeah, they used to kill us in the early 2000s all the time.
100%.
Now, I know a lot of this what if, and you mentioned the Ellsbury contract earlier, but, our old friend Cano ended up in San Diego. I'm actually happy with him. At least he's getting a chance. But you ever think what if would have happened if he stayed with the Yankees and didn't go to Seattle?
All the time. When he was with the Yankees, and specifically when the Yankees had Larry Bowa, a part of the staff, Larry Bowa used to keep him in line, used to keep him in check. Robinson Cano, if he would have stood in New York, he would have. The stuff at the end with the steroids and all the PEDs, I can't tell from that point of view. But I do have a friend who has a family connection with Robinson Cano, and after he left New York, he didn't have his family unit. He had like a big community here that used to keep him in check, keep him in line. But when he goes to Seattle, across the country, you can't just move everybody that that's in Washington Heights over to Seattle.
Yeah, I felt, because if you look at the stats, they're pretty darn good. It's like, a little under 3,000 career hits, which again, that's all automatically would have been a whole thing, especially for a second baseman. I think had he stayed with the Yankees and again didn't get into that PED trouble, you talk about a definite, no doubt Hall of Famer, probably the best Yankees second baseman of all time.
Yeah, Kenny Singleton used to say it all the time. Whenever Robinson Cano was at bat, he had a Hall of Fame trajectory. If he would have stood in New York, the numbers that he had in Seattle wasn't that bad. He had 36 home runs one year. I think he won a batting title or second when it comes to the batting title one year. It's just the PEDs, like you said, that whole what if, we can't even control that what if because we don't know what would have happened if he would have stayed over here.
Yeah, and I don't blame him for leaving because Seattle blew the Yankee offer away. It was like 240 million versus like 175.
It was 70. Yeah, it was 70 million more. I would have took it too if I was Cano, honestly.
Yeah, I can't blame him on that one. And I'm sure you saw the news about our old friend Brett Gardner supposedly turning down $6 million from Toronto and also turning another offer from the Braves. So, is he Yankee or bust, or is this guy just enjoying retirement life?
He just needs to enjoy retirement, and we're gonna have a Brett Gardner day one day at Yankee Stadium, and get ready for Old Timers Day. But as much as he's done for us, and going back to he was a part of the 2009 championship. I'm not trying to bash him whatsoever, but I think that has sailed. But I think he has such a loyalty to the Yankees. It's like when Bernie Williams in 2006. After that season, he had offers from Kansas City. He had offers from other teams, but he turned them down because he just felt like it's either Yankees or bust, like you said.
No, and I guess in a way I'm happy I did. And I think he was finished last year, so I had no interest. I like them. I joined him as a fan,
Yeah,
but yeah, had no interest in bringing him back. And again, if he wants to be a Yankee for life, I just respect him for that. It's a very cool thing.
Yeah, same. That's the same. I have the same sentiments.
All right. So again, Hector, appreciate getting this time with you. Again, people can check you out. Project Nerd HQ. Follow you on both Instagram as well as on Twitter. And again, check out the show. I'm sure you have one during Monday to Friday after every Yankee win, 11 to 12. Yankees Morning Brew. Come with your coffee. It could be any type of coffee, and talk some Yankees for an hour.
Exactly. Catch me on the nights of DJing. And my guy, we got to set something up that I have you on one of these days, and we talk about the Yankees also.
I'm game.